Joining me from Los Angeles is Ami Horowitz, filmmaker and right-on commentator. Ami Horowitz, it's coming up to Christmas and my thoughts always turn to religion. The global warming believers actually seem to have borrowed a lot from Christians, right? That whole shtick of, repent for the end of the world is nigh, you sinners. They preach the same fear, but without the hope and critically without the presents at Christmas.
Yeah, the one difference being that the religious Christians want to see the redemption of humanity, and the radical environmentalists want to see the destruction of humanity. That small little difference between the two. But you know that the little vapid girl Greta Thunberg, who by the way is has outed herself as an absolute radical communist who wants to overturn our entire capitalist system. These are her words. This is her saying that. And of course, she has added to that the fact that the climate change we've been seeing is due to, wait for it, racism, because everything is racist, Andrew, these days, even climate change.
Of course it is.
And the despicable Jane Fonda, the actress who, let's not forget, was sitting on a anti-aircraft weapon that was shooting down American pilots, she echoed those horrific statements by saying that we wouldn't have climate change without racism. But she added, we wouldn't have climate change without misogyny, because those two women have now weaponized their anti-man attitude and have now morphed that into climate change.
Well, honestly, the way you were just describing the way that global warming is being used, it's behind this, it's behind that, it's behind every evil in the world, racism in particular. It really is just a metaphor for Satan. Satan is exactly the same in the Christian eschatology. That's what Satan does. And let's not forget that one of the parishes of the Church of Sweden declared first Jesus Christ, then Greta Thunberg. She is the new Christ for some people. Weird stuff. But Ami, talking about the end of times, it really does seem the end of times for former President Donald Trump, whose support among Republican voters is now collapsing. A USA Today poll, in fact, shows that people who vote Republican and like his policies, they still like those policies, but now they want Florida Governor Ron DeSantis as president instead, and by a massive margin of 2-1. Now, how's this going to play out, do you think?
Yeah, Andrew, you and I were early money on Trump not being the nominee, when everybody else, the conventional wisdom was saying that he was going to run away with this thing. I think now the numbers are moving in our direction. Look, yeah, it was not a good day for President Trump when it came to this poll. That not only DeSantis topping Trump, but even Joe Biden, the president everybody hates, is crushing the president 47-40, and in that same poll it shows that DeSantis beating the president. So those are hard to overcome. But the real problem for me, Andrew, is that he is going to use a third-party run as leverage to get primary voters to vote for him. If you don't think he's willing to see the destruction of the Republican Party in order for him to win the nomination, you are mistaken. And it is a very powerful tool to say, hey, if you don't vote me in, I will run third party and hand the election to Joe Biden. I believe that's the direction he's going to go in.
Well, I am worried about that too, that he would do a Ross Perot where he'd cause the Republican to lose and the Democrat to win. But the one thing, Ami, that is making me feel confident he might not do that is that he is so scared of seeming a loser, a third-party run, he would lose again. And I'm hoping that if his ego's too tender for that. But, gee, mate, I'm listening to you. I'm fearing you. I'm feeling your fear. Now, just one last thing. President Joe Biden, he got Russia to release a basketballer, Brittney Griner, who'd been jailed for having cannabis. What a stupid woman. She took cannabis into Russia. She was exchanged for a convicted arms trafficker. So Biden's, swapping gold for silver. But Paul Whelan, another American stuck in Russian jails, he's accused of spying there. That seems a complete fraud. He's upset that Biden is not doing more to free him. Is he right to complain?
He is absolutely right to complain, and there's no question about it. There is a lot of evidence that the Biden administration is actually lying when they said that the offer was for Victor Bout, Griner, or no one, and that NBC first reported that it was the offer was Victor Bout for either Griner or Whelan. They then went back and self-edited themselves, so we're not clear on whether he was offered. But there's no question that we could have done more to put. Look, we have all the leverage in this situation. Russia is on its heels, but you know, even or as problematic, by the way, is how the media has portrayed this. You know, there's been article after article saying that people like me who say we've got a problem with this trade go immediately to racism, the fact that she's a lesbian, the fact that she stood against America. They're all using, Andrew, I'm sorry, but that's the narrative they're going with, that we're doing this because we hate lesbians, because we hate black people. It's sick. It's a sick argument to make. That's not what we're saying. But the big winner in this trade, though, is the WNBA. For the first time, they're actually in the news. So they got to be happy about that.